Good afternoon, everyone. Today we're going to talk about two fundamental digital concepts that most of us use every day, often without realizing just how critical they are to the smooth operation of modern government services. These are files and processes. You may not be managing them directly, but as policymakers, you are overseeing entire systems that rely on them. Whether it's digital tax filing, national ID platforms, or health data management systems, behind each of these services lies a digital infrastructure dependent on how files are organized and how processes are scheduled. So, what exactly do we mean by managing files and processes? Let's start with files. A file, in simple terms, is any unit of digital information stored on a computer or server. Think of a Word document, an Excel spreadsheet, a PDF form, or even a photo of a government ID. Each of these is a file. These files live in folders, also called directories, which help keep things organized, just like filing cabinets in an office. Now imagine if there were no folders. Just a chaotic pile of digital papers. If that sounds inefficient, that's exactly what happens in poorly maintained public IT systems. Every operating system, whether it's Windows, Linux, or macOS, includes something called a file system. This is the part of the OS that keeps track of every file's name, location, type, and status. It determines where files are stored, who can access them, and how they're secured or backed up. Let's make this concrete. Imagine your city hall has digitized property tax records going back 30 years. If these files aren't named consistently, stored in proper folders, or protected from being accidentally deleted, the entire system becomes vulnerable. Not only to inefficiency, but also to public distrust. Misplaced or inaccessible records can delay services, complicate audits, or even spark legal issues. That brings us to file permissions. A well-managed system will ensure that only authorized personnel can view or edit sensitive files. For example, a city clerk may be able to access voter registration records, but not payroll data for the police department. These permissions are enforced by the operating system's file management tools. Now let's move on to processes. A process is a program or task that is currently running on a computer. Every time you open an application, whether it's a browser, a tax form portal, or a healthcare database, you are starting one or more processes. The operating system's job is to manage all these processes efficiently, without crashing or slowing down. Just like in government, where multiple departments work simultaneously, planning roads, issuing licenses, holding public hearings, computers must also handle many tasks at once. This is called multitasking. The OS schedules these processes using something called a scheduler. It decides which process gets the processor's attention at each moment. Think of it like a digital traffic controller, guiding multiple planes to land safely without collision. What happens when process management goes wrong? Let me give you a simple example. Suppose your government website crashes during peak hours, say, the final day to file taxes. An investigation might reveal that the server was trying to handle too many user sessions at once. There was no system in place to prioritize or stagger requests. In short, the processes weren't managed properly. This isn't just a technical inconvenience, it's a governance failure. Citizens blame inefficiency, not software design. That's why you, as policymakers, must understand that decisions about digital platforms cannot be made without thinking about what's happening behind the screen. Sometimes, one poorly written or misbehaving process can consume all available resources. This is called a memory leak or process hogging. It's like one department monopolizing the entire city budget. It leads to slowdowns, crashes, and lost productivity. Now, let's connect this to procurement and policy. When approving contracts for new government IT systems, ask whether the vendors use reliable process scheduling mechanisms. Do they monitor and limit resource use per process? Do they offer tools for diagnosing and recovering from crashes? Similarly, when evaluating proposals for digital transformation, make sure the team has a strategy for file versioning. This ensures that multiple drafts of a document are saved and traceable. Without it, public records can become corrupted or overwritten. Think of a law being passed with 3 different versions of a final draft, and no one can say which is correct. Let me also raise an important issue: data recovery. If files are deleted or if a process crashes during an update, is there an automatic recovery system? The operating system can be configured to take snapshots of data and processes at regular intervals. If this isn't built in, you risk losing not just files but also public trust. Now, you may be wondering, what does this have to do with leadership? Well, digital resilience depends on invisible structures. You wouldn't approve a new building without asking about its foundation. The same is true in digital government. File and process management are the foundation. Let's look at a case study. In 2021, a European municipality migrated its entire document archive to a cloud system. However, due to poor file structure and lack of process monitoring, thousands of legal documents were misfiled, some were duplicated, and others lost during transfers. It took 6 months and a dedicated task force to restore order. The financial cost was high, but the damage to public confidence was even higher. Contrast that with another case from Japan, where a prefecture's emergency management system was built with smart process scheduling. In times of disaster, non-essential processes are automatically paused, and memory is prioritized for emergency broadcasting and communication systems. This design choice, entirely invisible to citizens, has saved lives. Let's return to our analogies for a moment. Think of file management like managing a national archive. The folders are shelves. The documents are files. The OS is the archivist who knows where everything goes, who has access, and how to make sure the contents are never lost. Now think of process management like city traffic. If there's no traffic light system, no priorities for ambulances, no time slots for roadwork, then the whole city slows down or stops. The OS plays the role of the traffic controller, deciding who moves, when, and how much space they get. To close, let's remember this. Managing files and processes isn't about technology for its own sake. It's about reliability, fairness, and trust. Public services, from issuing permits to responding to crises, depend on well-managed digital systems. And those systems, in turn, depend on operating systems that can handle files and processes correctly. As policymakers, your role is to ensure that public IT infrastructure is robust, inclusive, and trustworthy. That begins with asking the right questions, not just about features and budgets, but about architecture and resilience. Thank you very much for your attention. In the next session, we'll dive into how operating systems manage memory and other system resources, a critical piece in ensuring efficiency and service continuity. Until then, I look forward to your questions and reflections.